How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. Hopefully, everyone is having, the best day you can be having after Ohio State loses for the second straight season to Michigan. This time at home, a game where it felt like Ohio State really should have won. You could understand last season's game. The defense struggled. They couldn't get off the field. Michigan ran all over teams last season. You've seen the matchup woes last year. This year felt like a different story. The Ohio State Buckeyes, our defense has improved 300 yards per game opposed to the 366 and the 400 they were allowing the last two seasons. And just watching the way the game was played in the first half, defense played really well, held things down, and then everything just fell apart in the second half. Really, it started that 15-play drive where Michigan just ate up the clock, wore down the defense. Ohio State went 3 and out right after it, and at that point, you could just tell the Ohio State defense was starting to get gassed, and that's where they just got gassed big play after big play. It looked like the team kind of gave up in that fourth quarter. And all of a sudden, because of all of these events happening in the second half, and Ohio State unfortunately losing this football game, there is a lot of talk about Ryan Day's job and finding a new coach to head coach the Ohio State Buckeyes going forward. Now, I say, originally, felt like a bit of an overreaction to me. I mean, yeah, you don't want to lose. You can't lose the game. The Buckeyes, for the second straight year, are seeing the issues with losing the game. You lose this game any other time of the year, and you possibly still playing a Big Ten championship game if you're in different divisions, and then you have a chance to make the college football playoff. But because of the way the divisions are set up, it is more important than ever for Ohio State to win this football game if they want to make the college football playoffs. So the second straight year, they lose it. Lots of questions in the air about Ryan Day. Now, first of all, let's bring this up about Ryan Day. If Ryan Day and the Ohio State Buckeyes end up in the Rose Bowl, I still think there's a very good chance to make college football playoffs. If they end up in the Rose Bowl, they win that game, Ryan Day will be the winningest coach in Ohio State Buckeyes history. Not wins total, obviously, but winning percentage. He has the highest winning percentage as a coach at Ohio State. He's lost 4 times in the 4 years plus the 3 he did early in 2018. In the 4 years he's been coaching Ohio State, he has lost 4 times. He has lost to Clemson, he has lost to Alabama, and he has lost to Michigan twice. 3 really good football programs are his only losses. He's 15-4 against teams that are ranked when Ohio State goes into those games, obviously playing those teams inside the top 25. 15-4. Again, those 4 losses, we just mentioned them. Bama, Clemson, Michigan twice. Michigan, as much as we hate to compliment them at all, has had a good football program these last 2 seasons. They had a running back who there was a lot of talk about this guy, even when he did not play, and that is why things get more and more sticky with this loss because he didn't play because of the injury. When he did play, though, there's a lot of talk about this guy potentially coming home with a Heisman. Ohio State goes into this football game. I thought they game planned really well. They didn't execute. I thought they game planned really well defensively, I should say, just to clarify here. This is a team that they stopped them. They stonewalled Michigan the entire first half in the run game. The offense needed to run away with this football game, and they did it. They really did it. They had a golden opportunity. It felt like early when you watch this football game, it's hard to believe Ohio State got blown out because at the end of that first quarter, it felt like Ohio State was going to be the one blowing out Michigan. The way the game changed from first half to second half was incredible. The way the Ohio State offense could not execute was something else. And again, this goes back onto Ryan Day, who has, I thought, since coming to Ohio State, has done an outstanding job with second half adjustments. It felt like he clearly was out-coached in this football game in the second half. And an area where he normally excels. If you go into halftime, close game, you feel like, okay, adjustments will be made. Buckeyes go win this football game. That was not the case in this game, clearly. And it felt like this team lacked the leadership. It felt like it lacked some accountability. It felt like it lacked resilience. You've seen that clearly in the fourth quarter once this team gave up that big run. Gave up that big play to Cornelius Johnson, really, where it just felt like there wasn't somebody taking the lead here and saying, hey, we'll be all right, fellas. Lots of football left. Instead, they got gashed for big play after big play after big play, and it just felt like they took shot after they was down, beaten, they didn't care. It was over. And it goes back to, again, Ryan Day, but it also goes back to your quarterback who is the leader of your football team. And my big question is, and this is important, Because I can say, let's keep Ryan Day. But my big question is this, that I want from Ryan Day. And it is the difference in this guy being your coach in the future or not. Because I understand it's a little different for Ohio State fans. We are used to a smash mouth, heavily defensive football team. And that's not Ryan Day's style. We've seen that through his recruiting where you see all these wide receivers, these pocket passes, these good quarterbacks coming in. The offense is improving from that standpoint. You're seeing all these elite wide receivers want to play for this team because that's the type of offense and the type of football team Ryan Day wants to have. Again, we're seeing the recruiting come back, but those first couple years of Ryan Day is like, okay, there's going to be some struggling with this defense. And once Knowles comes in as well, again, we've seen the defense improve. I think we'll see it improve next year. But it takes a little bit of getting used to seeing that style of offense and defense compared to what we're used to seeing at Ohio State. But my big question is this. CJ Stroud does not run the football. Who are you to blame for that? The quarterback, I want to know Ryan Day's answer. Is it Ryan Day saying, hey, if Stroud wants to run, he can? Or I don't want my quarterback to run as much as we don't have to. That's the recruiting pitch. We're not going to make you run at Ohio State. What's the reasoning behind not running the football? And I'm going back and looking. I'm afraid to say for Ryan Day's future at Ohio State, it is not CJ Stroud's fault. It is his fault 110%. Because as a coach, it is your job to say you go out there, run that football when you have the space. I don't care if you're scared to take that hit, if you're worried about a guy's health. That is not how you play football. Do you see the Aaron Rodgers, the Joe Burrows, the Patrick Mahomes of the league have 10, 15 yards of space in front of them and just stand there and force the football? No, they take what they can get. If they can extend the play and find somebody deep, yeah, they're going to do it. But if you're going to give a guy 10, 15 yards of running room throughout the game and you're not going to take it, and you're not going to take the first down and just keep the ball moving, that's bad. That is not good coaching. And I'm afraid to say, because we look back at Justin Fields now, I remember when he came through, he's like, all right, this guy's going to be nice in the NFL because he's a pocket passer. He likes to stay. He's not looking to run the football all the time. He's looking downfield. He's making great throws. That's the thing with CJ Stroud. He does an excellent job of that. This guy's got elite passing abilities. And I wonder if you're fully, again, developing these guys, though, because here's the thing with Justin Fields. Justin Fields is on pace. Listen to this. Justin Fields is on pace to have more rushing yards this season in the NFL than he was to have his entire career through 3 seasons with the Ohio State Buckeyes. If that does not tell you that Ryan Day is responsible for the quarterback not running the football, I don't know what does. Because Justin Fields is running circles on teams right now in the NFL. He really is. To see that his legs are that sort of weapon and he was not used in that sort of facet at Ohio State is astounding to me. And just looking forward as an Ohio State fan, as a team, as in college, you have to be able to play that style of football. You look at what Urban Meyer did really successfully. He did not put guys in the NFL as quarterback. He didn't. That's not how he played. It was a run-pass option. You found guys that could make the throws. You ran down the team's throat. You played good defense. That's what he did. It won in multiple championships. You'll see that a lot in college. See a lot of these guys that can run the football. Because when you're a franchise, you're a program, I should say, like the Ohio State Buckeyes, and you're going to bring in these big recruits, you're going to bring in these tough offensive lines, you got all day to throw the football like CJ Stroud. You have to be willing to say, all right, let me take a step back here. I got 10 seconds to throw the football. Run. Make them respect it. It is easy to game plan a couple years into coaching against this guy if you know your quarterback's not going to run the football in college. That is such a huge dynamic in the game. And if a coach can go into a game and say, okay, let's just worry about stopping number 7, throwing the football, we'll drop 8, we'll do whatever we got to do because he's going to throw the ball. That makes the life of the quarterback so much more difficult. It stagnates your offense. It can only go so far. Because the second he starts running that football and you have to bring a linebacker down, somebody to spy on the quarterback, you have to bring these guys back down closer to the line of scrimmage, you're going to open up the big plays downfield. You're going to open up the sidelines. You're going to open up so much more offensively because you're forced to respect the run. Right now, they don't have to. And that stood out so much in this game. It has stood out in the past. I think Ryan Day is an excellent coach. I think that is his big hole. I really do. You're going to have those games. Unfortunately, it's hard to lose to a team like Michigan, but I think that's a big deal. You learn how to run the football with a quarterback, and he certainly doesn't want to do it right now. And the game's not close. They don't have a chance to get back in this football game because, again, it's not a 1-2 time throughout the game thing. This is throughout the entire game. You could probably not have got 5, 10, 15 times. You look back where CJ Stroud could have dropped back and just ran the football for 10, 15 yards. And in a game where you wear the opposing team's defense down, it becomes easier to score. I think we've seen that loud and clear in the second half for Michigan last week. That's when you start running away with the football game. Possession is huge in the game. Keep your defense rested. Give them time to get out there. Get your pass rushers some breaks. And you can't do that if they're just not willing to run the football when they got the chance like that. I need to know Ryan Day's honest answer with that. And then I need to know if he wants to be a coach anymore, because how do you fire a guy who's lost 4 games? Well, that's how. I don't like it. I love Ryan Day. I don't like the idea of firing him. But man, you can't not have that be part of your offense. That to me is a pretty big deal breaker. And the guy's on the hot seat for good reason. They got to figure out something. They've got to figure out a way to make this guy, they got to figure out a way to mobilize this offense. Defense be all right, I think. I think they're seeing improvements. I think we're seeing them do better recruiting with the defense these last couple of seasons. You bring in the better defensive coordinator. I think they'll start to figure things out. But if you're supposed to have the most electric offense in the league, and your quarterback throws for 3,000 yards, which is like, 30% lower than what he did last season, questions for concern. Love you guys' thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.